it didn't happen because it was he did this on a proclamation.
So you're right, it is here. It is here. It's at 12:30. I just found these things.
Oh, 12:30.
Well, it's not here. It's at the courthouse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. No, it's at the...
This is the administration building.
So why is Trump the Antichrist?
That's not the right. This is right here. You guys
Is that what you're saying, that Trump is the Antichrist?
Yes, Trump is the
It's not
Antichrist.
printed
You
out
can
very
have
well, I
that.
guess.
Trump is the Antichrist.
So why do you say that?
But I found one, so I figured I'd...
Hey, great. Okay.
We'll play it. Are you familiar with Revelations?
Absolutely.
And I was going to say, there's a lot of Antichrist. Trump is the Antichrist described in Revelations.
Okay.
So, according to that myth, we can do true or false. True or false? The Antichrist is born into privilege. True or false?
False.
No, true. Wrong, you're mistaken. The Antichrist rises to power by deceiving his followers that he's the only one that can fix the world's problems. True or false? The Antichrist rises to power by deceiving his followers that he is the only one, the savior, that can fix the world's problems. True or false?
True.
True, yes, true. Right.
Yep.
True or false? The Antichrist rises to power, becomes the most powerful man on earth. True or false?
Yep.
The Antichrist is lawless.
Yep.
True. The Antichrist brands his mark on everything. True or false?
Yep.
Okay. That's why I think that this is the Antichrist described in Revelations 13. Nothing about the other books, because there's been many Antichrists, but this is the one in Revelation 13.
So where did,
what does this mean? When you see this, what is that? What is that right there?
I have no idea. It looks like a bunch of just random symbols there and a bunch of numbers underneath it.
Right, because it's Roman numbers.
Okay.
And so when you add these Roman numbers up together,
All right.
guess what it adds up to?
Let me guess. 1666.
Yes, exactly. 1,666.
Look at that.
So St. John,
Okay.
I have visions. I call them psychic hot flashes. Everybody has visions.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm just better at listening to mine. I'm also, I think, genetically more predisposed than most people for having those. Some people have better eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
I have better genetic inherited memory.
I can see that. Okay.
Okay, so what this is, when St. John saw this, he thought of it as a number, because when he had his vision, he was illiterate. These were Roman numbers. Everybody was illiterate.
Okay.
So he saw this and thought a number, was confused, just like you were when you saw this number and was trying to make a word out of it.
Right.
Because to you, this is a word that doesn't make sense to you when it's Roman numbers.
Oh, I can see how people could look at that and think that it might say Trump. But I have a question for you though. Brands his mark on everything. How did Trump do that again?
So Trump has registered his intellectual property,
Okay.
his brand,
Make America Great Again, or Trump, or something? Like what?
the Trump name.
Oh, the Trump name is his mark?
Yes, his logo.
But isn't the mark of the beast supposed to be put upon everybody as a population? But
And the hat, and so that's it. It's his hat.
Are you
Exactly.
wearing his hat? Do you wear his hat?
No, I don't wear his hat.
Well, then you don't have the mark of the beast on you, then, right?
Right.
But
right.
but he's not wearing a hat either.
But I'm not one of the deceived, and this is the other
okay.
thing.
Okay.
Is that people think that they mistakenly believe a mythology. Unlike so I was born by an evangelical mother.
Okay.
I was raised in an evangelical church.
Okay.
And so believed that the rapture was as much of Christian dogma as the Immaculate Conception and the Resurrection.
Okay.
And it was up until after 9/11 that I learned that the rapture is a uniquely American mythology, just like Mormon. So this is where we fight our freedom of religion. We have a whole new religion called LDS, Mormonism. Mormons think LDS, think that they're Christian when they're a whole different religion. They
Right.
have a different God,
Yeah.
Moroni. They have a different book.
Mm-hmm.
They are as Christian as Muslims are.
Okay.
Christianity was first. The next extension for for Mormons was they were founded on that. Well, so there's this really weird religion where if you die in LDS church, you go to a different planet.
Right.
So in Rapture, which is uniquely American,
Wait,
that they believe
hold on.
is that suddenly because
How is the rapture uniquely American when the Vatican is in Italy and the Catholic faith is all about the rapture? I don't
Because
understand
the
that.
Catholic Church is not all about the rapture. So the story of the rapture, this guy, this preacher guy,
Okay.
like a decade after Smith, the guy that found the golden books of Smith.
Yeah.
So like a decade after Smith, hi, here, thank you.
Oh, you got this is
So there's this this preacher turns around because there's one reference, not even in Revelation, it's somewhere else that they talk about letting away. And there's this mythology that at some point people will suddenly evaporate. They will be vaporized and float away. And so I was raised that at a single moment in time that Christians would evaporate away. And maybe those Christians were only 144,000. Maybe there was more, maybe there was less. But my mother was sure that she was one of them. And it always prepared me that at any instant moment in time when Jesus reappeared, that she would vaporize. And so I thought that mythology was as much of Christian faith, of the New Testament, as
well. The rapture
Immaculate
is
Conception.
talked about in Revelations.
where?
Well, unfortunately I'm on my phone. I can't pull up the verse
Where?
for you right here, but
Where?
I mean, again, I'm on my phone right now. I
Most
can't pull
people
it up.
say it's
Okay,
in
so
it's in Revelation verse 4 where they're caught up. Most people say that. I don't hold to that
okay,
position.
Revelation 4. Okay, wait, Jim,
Thank you
I don't
for
have.
interrupting me.
So Revelation
Glad
4.
you're
Let's
so
look at
patient.
Revelation 4. You can pause that and check out Revelation 4, and let's see what Revelation 4 says about the rapture.
All right, hold
Okay,
on.
so
Rapture
stop
and
that.
Revelation. It's talked about in First Thessalonians. But anyway,
And
so
in
about
First
Trump.
Thessalonians, there's one little quick message that talks about letting away.
Okay.
So in the context of one thing letting away, the whole mythology of the rapture happened.
Okay.
And the rapture is just that, because it was written by some crazy preacher who had his vision, and his vision was the rapture.
Okay, but
now,
what does that have to
maybe
do with
the
Trump?
rapture
What does any of this have to do with
happens-
Trump? What does it have to do with Trump?
Trump is the Antichrist.
And again, but
Trump is the Antichrist, specifically described in Revelations 13.
all right, what makes Trump any different than Obama or Bush or Clinton?
Trump's brand is the mark of the beast that's on people's foreheads.
So his name.
The Antichrist brands his mark on things. Or is it the mark of the brand? Which is it? Does the Antichrist mark his brand on things, or does he brand his mark on things?
Okay, so-
what's the difference?
You do know the Antichrist is more of a global thing than just a national thing, correct?
So the Antichrist in Revelation
There's only a
is
few
Trump.
million people that wear that hat in the
So-
world. So
So the Antichrist is Trump is the Antichrist in Revelation. He's not Hitler. Hitler was an Antichrist, but Hitler was not the Antichrist described in Revelation.
and Hitler was more global than
Trump-
Trump is.
Trump is the most powerful man on earth.
Well, not really.
He's the president of the United States. He's the most powerful man on earth.
So was Obama. So was Bush. So was Clinton. So what?
Right, the president is the most. So the
So
president.
the president, no matter what, who is president? So Joe Biden is now the new Antichrist. Is that
No.
what you're saying?
No.
I mean, Joe
There
Biden's
is
the new
a-
president of the United States.
There is an Antichrist in Revelation. That Antichrist in Revelation is Donald Trump.
But you said Hitler was the Antichrist in Revelation
he
as well.
is an Antichrist.
Oh, so
He
Trump is
not.
the Antichrist? So the world
No,
is
you got
ending
you.
now.
No, you got it. No, so
So
now
the world
where,
is now over, and like trials and tribulations has now happened, and
So where does it talk about tribulations in Revelation?
who cares?
Where
That's
does
what I'm
it talk
asking
about-
you.
where
I'm
does
asking
it
you.
talk about-
You're saying Trump is, in
The
fact, right now the
Antichrist
Antichrist.
described in
Even though
Revelation.
in 2 weeks he'll no longer be the most powerful man in the world.
He is the Antichrist described in Revelation. So tell me where tribulation appears in Revelations.
So wait, are you?
You're taking all of the
Oh my
pieces
God.
in the Bible and you're throwing it together into one story, and you're mistaken.
Yes, the end times is talked about all throughout the New Testament and even a little bit in the Old Testament.
Where does the end times talk about? Where do they talk about the
You-
end times in Revelation?
So when you read the Bible, you only read that one book. Is that what you're saying?
There's
you only read the
multiple
Revelation.
stories, and everything that talks about evil. People act as if there is only one evil. No, there's evil. The devil is evil.
Okay.
Antichrist, There is an Antichrist described in Revelation 13.
So in
the Antichrist described in Revelation.
So in 2 weeks, we're not going to have an Antichrist in this world anymore?
No, he'll be in prison.
Well, that won't happen. I mean, people have been saying
He'll
that
be.
forever.
Since he's a private citizen, he's going to get locked up. You realize that there's 17 sealed indictments against him from the Mueller investigation, right? Those 17 indictments, we know they're not Roger Stone, Papadopoulos, Sadler. So who
you know
are
the
they?
Russian hoax was a hoax, right?
So, oh no,
That's
he
what
sat there
Mueller
on
proved.
TV.
It was a
He
hoax.
sat on TV and said, Russia, if you're listening, release the 33,000 emails. Do you remember that happening?
The joke?
He
Yeah,
really did that. So where
100%.
was the collusion? The collusion was with Trump and Putin on getting the GOP nomination, not the November election. That was a surprise for everybody. But the
The
collusion...
whole dossier and all that stuff was written by Hillary Clinton and her staff.
The
That was proven
collusion
also.
was Trump, Putin to get the GOP. And so once he got that, unfortunately, that interference isn't the interference of November.
Wait, what-
and it's
what
not
interference
illegal.
exactly?
Trump says that it's illegal or that it wasn't illegal. And the thing is, it's not. Because the GOP gave their nomination to Trump, and then his fucking brainwashed idiots followed the GOP nomination.
Oh, so you don't think Trump did anything good for this country?
Oh no! And so he's going to be facing federal charges for
Wait, so you don't
conspiracy
think- you
against the
don't
United
think Trump
States.
has done anything
but
good
then
for this
there's
country?
there's the
Are you
criminal.
racist?
There's
Do you
the
hate black people
criminal
and brown people
charges
in
that
this
he's going to
country?
face from the New York
Are
Attorney
you a
General's
self-hating
office.
woman?
And
All the
so,
things
do you
that Trump-
remember what happened about the New York Attorney General's office? Why they had the FISA thing? That whole thing was about his
The illegal wiretapping? Yeah, it
the
is.
illegal wiretapping.
The actual law broken?
And so, so what they were doing is they were tracking this guy for international trafficking, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, weapons trafficking.
Tracking
He's-
who? Tracking who?
International trafficking.
Tracking who?
And so he's
You're
turns
saying a
around.
word, but you're
this
not putting a
guy,
name by
have
it.
you heard anything about Epstein?
Yeah.
So Trump and Epstein.
Clinton's buddy? Yep.
Yeah. So Trump's buddy.
Clinton's buddy.
Is
Clinton
has
actually
this
spent a lot of
whole
time with
business.
Epstein.
You saw the movie Filthy Rich, right?
Sure.
And so at the end of that, what's really clear is that Trump and Epstein have made a business empire about blackmailing people. When Trump says that it's fake news about the dossier, what he's talking
No,
about.
the dossier was
the
real
fake
news. It was written by Hillary Clinton.
The fake news about the dossier is that Putin wasn't blackmailing Trump. Trump would blackmail other people. Trump turned around and blackmailed Jerry Falwell Jr. And Jerry Falwell, you probably heard this story. It's pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
So it is funny. So Trump blackmails Jerry Falwell Jr. And here, Cruz, Senator Cruz is so boned up that he's going to get the endorsement of Jerry Falwell Jr. And Trump gives it just before Iowa caucus. Jerry Falwell Jr. gives it to Trump. So jump ahead 2 years, we find out that there's questions about somebody fucking a pool boy. And then jump ahead to just recently, we find out Jerry Falwell Jr. has...
Rallies for stuff is down there.
It's at the other courthouse.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
She thinks Trump is the Antichrist.
All the justice. Yeah, the whole justice. Look, they got it.
Oh, give him more. Give him all you got.
What have we got? What are we doing? I haven't had time to read it.
Just throw them away.
Mark of the beast. Yeah, don't take that shot.
So they've been good Christians have been deceived because what they think that's going on, there's this whole mythology about like the shot that is nowhere described in Revelations, and yet they've taken every conspiracy theory and every reference of evil in the Bible and tied it together into one singular event, as if there's one singular rise of evil. Evil has risen to power.
Okay, but so why are you holding this if
Repeatedly.
in 2 weeks the Antichrist will have no more power?
We
You
gotta
said he's
lock
gonna be
him
in
up.
jail, so
We
why
ha-
do you
we
even
have to
care
lock-
about this?
We have to lock him up in jail before he turns around and takes
But you
more
said he's
souls.
already the Antichrist.
He is
So
he's
if
the
he's
an-
already the Antichrist, then he's all
the-
powerful and he has all the, who cares if he gets thrown in
Well,
jail?
you're mistaken in assuming that the Antichrist has some kind of magical powers because they don't. They're mortal. Just like Jesus Christ was mortal. So Jesus Christ was mortal. It was later, and after 600 years after the Bible was written, where the church finally said they had to turn around and connect. It was the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost, and they had to connect them together, because when it was three separate entities, the Son didn't have any supernatural powers. So in order for the Son to have supernatural powers, they had to turn around and connect him. Well, the Antichrist described in Revelations doesn't have supernatural powers. People are mistaken by this again, but this is a Bronze Age myth.
But
So
again,
what happened
isn't
3,300 years ago?
Is
Do
it
you know what
Revelations
happened
about the end of times?
Do you know what happened?
Isn't that what Revelations is? The end of times. Talks about the end of time, right? That's Revelation. So if Trump is the Antichrist in Revelation, then that means
It
the
would be the
world,
end.
the globe, and everything will end in 2 weeks.
Do you realize how catastrophic it would have been had Trump been reelected? You know, it would have been the end of times for the United States of America.
How is he the Antichrist if
It's
it
an
all ends in 2 weeks?
existential- It's an because
weeks.
you've got the myth wrong.
What's
You
the
have
myth?
the
Wait, so
myth
if you think
wrong.
it's a myth,
That's
then
my
why do you
point.
even call him the Antichrist if you think it's a myth?
Because I think St. John was right when he had this
You said it's a
vision.
myth.
It is a myth.
Then why
and
are you
misunder-
sitting here caring
and you
about it?
misunderstand it.
No, you're saying it's a myth. Do you know what a myth is? It means fairy tale fake.
Right.
That's a myth. So why are you sitting here calling Trump the Antichrist, saying all this crap about the Bible if you think it's a myth?
Because there's parts of it that are right. There's parts of it. Most of the way that it's
parts
been,
of it's right. Part of it is right. Part of it is a myth.
Right.
How? Yes, you are
So
right.
what
You are
happened- so
definitely
what happened-
genetically
what
predisposed to
happened-
intelligence.
What happened
apparently.
3,300 years ago?
What happened 33? Go ahead, tell me.
A big volcano called Santorini erupted. It was Thera.
And it killed the whole world, didn't it? Everybody
Uh,
died on the planet, including the dinosaurs and Sasquatch.
No, what it did do is it turned around and created 10 plagues that were written about in the book of Exodus.
Well, we've had most of
And
the
then it
plagues right
turned
now.
around
Have you?
and it created all of the hail and brimstone described in Genesis.
Yeah, the Hudson River caught on fire.
So where in the Bible does it talk about Santorini erupting? Where in the Bible does it talk about China?
You know, the Bible does talk
China,
about dinosaurs.
as a citizen, as a civilization, it has their civilization goes back 8,000 years. If the Bible is 6,000 years old exactly, and we're going to interpret everything as the exact word of the Bible, then or the exact word of God without subject to interpretation, well, you're just mistaken.
Well, the Bible's written and you know, it's written, and why would it be up into interpretation and like you can pick and choose? Wouldn't that kind of make the Bible completely irrelevant at that point in time if you're able to pick and choose? Especially since there is a very distinctive
written
difference between the New Testament and the Old Testament, and the New Testament is all about Christ and the Savior, and you know.
And you're assuming that everything that all religion, all human spirituality should be centered around a deity that is that was created in Western civilization, defined by Western civilization.
Do you
and
understand
ignore,
that you're a giant walking contradiction?
And you turn around, and there's other civilizations like China that is older than Western civilization,
Yeah.
and they don't have the same Bible and God and the same monotheistic deity.
True, but you're subscribing to the one that's you know, from the Jews and the Christians, calling the President of the United States the Antichrist. So again, walking contradiction. Please
Right.
explain yourself. If you're sitting there calling the Bible a myth and saying that it's not all it is cracked up to be and all that good stuff,
St. John-
why are you here trying to quote the Bible, trying to make a point when you have no point and you don't even believe what you're spewing?
Because I believe St. John had a vision, and his vision
So you
is
believe
wrong.
in one dude in the Bible, but the rest of the Bible's garbage.
No, I believe that there's a lot of stories that are accurate in the Bible and more stories that are subjected to.
Oh, but that's not a story. That's a prediction
interpretation.
at that point in time. That's not a story. That's a
Right.
prophecy. So that one prophecy in the Bible from that one person in the Bible matters, but all the rest of the prophecies and stuff in the Bible doesn't matter.
No. No,
That's ridiculous.
that's not what I'm saying at all.
That's exactly what you're saying. You're calling everything a myth except for
Okay.
one dude's,
Okay.
one guy's prophecy. The rest of it doesn't matter. The
And so-
Thessalonians doesn't matter. None
And
of
so
it matters.
again, you're connecting all of the dots to one story.
Either the Bible is true or the Bible is not. You can't pick and choose and cherry pick what you want
If
to
you're going
believe.
to say that 100% of the Bible is 100% accurate, exactly as written, then you're mistaken.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of other historical documents that actually assist the Bible in being historically accurate. But, you know,
And
whatever.
So the Bible is written as scientifically understood. By the people
Historians and archaeologists
by the
and
people
you
that experienced the eruption of Santorini. So what happened 40 years ago?
Where was Santorini again? Geographically, where was Santorini? Where was it?
Greece.
It was in Greece.
On the southeast Mediterranean.
Okay.
It's 400 miles north of the Nile.
Okay.
And
when did it happen? When did it happen again?
3,300 years ago.
3,300 years ago.
And
So the majority of the
200 years
Jews at that point in time were pretty far away from Greece, right? When they were writing
It was
the Old
they were
Testament?
Minoans. They were Minoans.
They were Minoans. Okay.
Minoans.
But again, the
And
people
so
who
when
were
it
writing the
erupted-
Bible weren't around the volcano when it went off. You know they didn't have Twitter and Facebook back then?
Exactly.
They didn't.
And so
Okay.
when the pyroclastic flows and the ash flows hit Egypt, which was only 400 miles away, it created these 10 plagues and the whole myth of Moses when they experienced Santorini's eruption. So what happened 40 years ago? Where we stand 40 years ago.
I don't know, a little volcano named Mount St. Helens went off?
Right. And how far did that out? And that caldera is only a mile. Guess how wide is the caldera in Santorini?
No idea.
13 miles.
Good golly.
Mount St. Helens is 1 mile.
Yeah,
So
so?
so tell me about the ash flow that happened 40 years ago from a 1 mile eruption of caldera.
You mean the ash cloud that circled the globe because the jet stream was in its favor? When there's been much larger eruptions that haven't even crossed half around the earth? Like what?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And yet, where in the Bible does it talk about Santorini's eruption other than in Exodus?
Again, you're
other
talking.
than in Genesis.
You're talking about 400 miles away when theoretically that started the plagues and all that stuff. Again, there wasn't
and you're-
Facebook or Twitter back then. It's not like people are going, "Yo, bro, Santorini just blew. Holy crap! Go tell your buddies." Like it's not how it works. Back then, they had they didn't even have carrier pigeons really. So they had camels and they walked a lot.
Thank you for illustrating my point. You exactly illustrated my point. You exactly illustrated my point. So what they thought is they thought an angry god did it because they didn't know that the island of Thera existed because they were in Egypt.
So nobody even knew that it existed. So that I
Minoans-
wonder why it wasn't written in the Bible. Holy crap!
The Minoans.
You just said nobody knew it existed, so why would they have written it in the Bible if nobody knew it existed?
Because what they experienced
Go ahead.
was the ash flow, the pyroclastic flows, just like the Spokane Indians wouldn't have known if Mount St. Helens erupted. All they would have known is that the sky was covered in gray clouds.
Right.
The sky would have turned to day.
Right.
But they were
it
too
sure
far.
didn't cause any plagues, did it? You're saying Mount
Exactly.
St. Helens was all super powerful and everything, but no plagues were created. A
Exactly.
little bit of acid rain, I guess you could call that a plague.
No, and exactly. So when Mount St. Helens erupted, it did not create a global religion.
Right.
So when it erupted 150 years ago,
Santorini didn't create a global religion either. The Jews were around long before Egypt. Just saying.
So yes,
You ever heard of a guy named Abraham?
So Santorini created the eruption of Santorini, created Judaism and the Exodus. It's told throughout Genesis.
Yeah, the
And
Jews
it's-
were already captive in Egypt before the plagues. So obviously Judaism was created long before the volcano. This volcano that nobody knows about. Yes, Trump is the Antichrist, apparently.
No, that's him. No, yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's it.
You guys here for the rally?
No, we were looking for more gear.
Oh, there's a guy in there.
Okay. He's not. He's in there as a volunteer working for free. Like he's not a person that sells here.
No worries. Thank you.
He already told me that.
Thank you.
So again, never mind.
So exactly. So when Mount St. Helens erupted, it created a 1 mile wild caldera, and the ash went around the world. Imagine an eruption so much larger than that it creates a 13-mile wide caldera.
So
You
what?
don't think that ash would travel 450 miles to the south to Egypt?
Who cares?
And just like Mount St. Helens.
Again, you're saying that a volcano
You're
created
acting-
Judaism
and
when
the
the Jews were
assumption
around
is
before.
that Santorini would have a single eruption when using Mount St. Helens as an example. It erupted several times in 1980. It erupted